Hello, good evening. Hello, everybody. Ugh. Welcome to the evening of Tuesday, I believe it is. Um, Here for a little weeknight stream. Nothing terribly crazy. Just looking to try out some modeling here in Blockbench. As someone who has little to no um, experience and or expertise. I should actually, before I yap too much. Okay, my audio's decent. Yeah, so as many people know, Hytale is a game coming out here in about 2 weeks. Um, and it has a lot of very exciting content and modding abilities. And I'm very excited for it. I I'm hoping I'm able to play day of release. I mean, it'll have to be after I go to work uh, and come home because I have things to pay for still. But I will be planning on streaming that evening if I am able to play it with Linux. I am. My computer does run Linux, and they've talked about trying to get it Hightail to be able to run off of Linux on opening day. But I know that um, you know, it's still very early access, and that you can't win everything. So hopefully they are able to do Linux, and come the 2 weeks, um, if not, hopefully just running Wine like off of Steam does is able to. Um, I'm sure Wine and Proton will be able to handle a lot of it, but you never know because it is as they warn on every layer of my pre-purchase of the game, very, um, very early access. They are reviving it, but also cutting out 4 years of old progress. So, but I all I've done for Blockbench to open it to try modeling is download the program and put the Hightail plugin in so that I could make something in the Hightail model. Other than that, I know absolutely nothing about how to use this program. So that is what most of tonight's going to be. Let's see, textures. Step one is definitely going to be able to, however, to add. Oh, nope, edit. Zoom. Oh, nope, wrong button. That was a Linux moment. My bad. That's the UV overlay. I can add in a reference image. That's nice. Let me on the side screen add this to project. Okay, so this is what I'm attempting to model for this first one is this is, if you might notice by looking at the channel, my logo. My logo that was very wonderfully made by my fiance. And I'm looking to try to make a 3D model of it in some way, shape, or form in Blockbench for Hightail. I think step one is figuring out how to build actually within the program, like put something down. I'm not. I claim no expertise because you'd think the paint paint tool would do something, but I don't have anything to paint on. It doesn't seem like. That is. Nope. Put that back over here. Let's create a texture, maybe. Let's say surface 1. Confirm. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I don't have any valid elements added. And I gotta stop doing that. Okay, that's all open. Transform. Sure. Tools. Toolbox. Oh. Cancel. That's Minecraft stuff. That was the wrong thing. Hmm. I don't have a model, so maybe I can open a model from a link. That's interesting. Yeah, that might make sense that I need to start off of a base model instead of building it from the ground up. Which means, is there anything here? This is just a webpage from the blog from Hightail about their art stuff. Um. Okay. Um. Did you do? Oh, here is a download for the models. Let me minimize that and open things in screens that people can't see because I am a professional. Extract to here. Name these aptly Hightail models on a screen that people can't see. Wait, maybe that didn't open. Extract here. There we go. So theoretically, then I can open this and then import. That's project. Yes. That is very much my um. Maybe nope. I am. I know exactly what I'm doing. Maybe I don't. Can I just allow once? Always allow for this plug. Hey, look at that. I've opened a model. Oh, man. Okay. Look at that. Okay, so it paints out like this here. Oh, so wait, if I go back to here, maybe if I open this up. Um, that's toolbar. No, let's put that back there. I don't think that does what I needed to. But I can use tools here to do something, obviously. Yes. That is okay. So let's. A lot of this is learning by seeing what's happening over here. So maybe if I add it. Oh, I've learned how to add an element, guys. Chat. This is huge. Okay, that's how you move it on the axis. Okay, let's add a quad. Okay, so that's like a flat sheet, and then I could switch the sizes around here. Okay, okay. Let's stick to the cube. Let's just add a cube and size it up a bit. Okay, okay. We're gonna bring this up the y-axis. We're gonna build. Sword needs a loving and devoted wife. Well, all right. Well, if you didn't catch the first 2 minutes of my introing into the stream, I'm trying to make my logo over here in Blockbench / in Hightail. After a sip of my ginger ale. Some of my concern about trying to build it is that the center mass of a lot of it is very ethereal. Um, is there? There's probably a rotate, a pivot. That tools does not do what I think it does because I need to stay over here and pivot. Oh no, that's pivot point. I want to my rotation. Okay. I think if I'm rotated 45 this way, then 45 on the y-axis, and 45 on the z-axis, we're going to be exactly where. That is absolutely not where I wanted it. Yikes. Okay. Is it? Am I just. Okay, let's look at it on the x-axis. Okay, this is. No, I can't say this is easier than I thought it was. Free me from my cube. Oh, that's okay. I can click and drag on. Oh, I can just inflate it. That's crazy. That's crazy fast on the inflate. Okay, let's. If I line up on the y, nope, x-axis. I want to be on the x-axis. I want this to point more or less up like that. Yeah. Okay. And then if I free myself. That's good enough for my beginning point of trying to figure this out. I think I'm going to shrink it there. I think I'm going to size down to 1 as like a central dot in my model, you know? Um, and then the trick is going to be building, because, and I was talking about it earlier with, you know, the original artist, my lovely fiance. And it's supposed to be like a diamond that like exploded out that's trying to contain the magical. Each, no clue what the particle effects might be available within the toolset of the inner effect. That the effect part I am not sure about personally. Clearly is because you've been watching me, professional model maker over here. I've spent the better part of the first 20 minutes figuring out how to add an element of a single cube and be able to spin it. Um, Add a null object. What does this do? What does this bad boy do? I don't know what the point of a null object is. I'm not going to try to figure that out yet. I think we need to stick to what we know, which is cube. I do agree that like each one's going to have to be like its own individual cube. I don't know if I want to try to build it. Like I think it might be worthwhile enough to um oh, that's good. That's actually really good to know. I want to I think it'd be easiest for me from where I'm starting in terms of experience to start by like doing it flat on the like click my reference photo and then make it slightly opaque this way and then line up pieces to do it. But this also would require me to select cube. I think I'm going to delete this cube. I'm going to start fresh. And it might not work great. Let's size down. Okay, I assume I need to be a size. So I'm assuming at minimum it has to be size 1. A splice tool. Would that be a knife tool? Tool to cut mesh faces into smaller pieces. It might be it. Let's... Oh, I knifed something. Oh, I keep knifing it. That's probably not helping me. Let's go back to 1 cube. I also now realize I just have this vaguely opaque in the back. I think to knife something, though, I need this to be bigger. So let's move on the z-axis. Let's line up our grid to our image again. Oh, nope, that's sizing. Okay, that's actually kind of helpful. Not what I'm trying to do though. Trying to move the cube. Trying to move the cube. Why is it not letting me? Oh, I'm on the wrong move tool. That would be it. Let's move you like center. That doesn't have to move right now just because I'm not on that plane. Like there-ish. I think if I Nope, I don't want to move the pivot point. Let's move pivot back to 0 here. I want to rotate it on the X. Nope. I want to rotate it on the ZX. Nope. Wrong axis again. I will figure out which axis to spin this by once I get there. There we go. I want to spin this like so for now. Then I want to go to resize to try to diamond shape this ultimately. Move, rotate. Let's check this on any other. Okay, it's still flat. That's good. It's good. Let's put us back facing on the Y in the grid. All right, what happens if I grab the knife now? Okay, I've stabbed it. Now, okay, now it's a piece. I have several forms of the cube. Not fully sure how I cut some of them. So I'm going to back that back up. Back to one cube. I'm going to grab the knife, and I'm going to chop from here to here. And I want to... Why do I feel like that cuts it weirdly? Okay, so I don't... So I have to cut it in squares, oddly enough. You know, go figure. Yeah. Square game, do not be liking triangle. So... So... Should... You know what? I know what this... Cutting them... oh, maybe that's what a good null. Nope. Control Z, not what I meant to do. Null object. Okay, where's the null object? Okay, let's... Nope, not the cube. Add a null object. You know, that's... There is a help button. I could probably... Blockbench wiki. Wow. Alright, guys, I've gone far enough that I need a wiki. It's not really helping me. Better point. Let's just... What is point of null object in Blockbench? I don't want AI overview. Get that out of here. Streamer mode. Helpful, helpful. Movements. Uh-huh. Now, I probably could have read this instead of flapping about trying to figure out how to even add an object for the first 10 minutes. I mean, maybe I'm on item prop model plugin on Blockbench, but that doesn't necessarily. So pivot points, yes, that makes sense. Where you position a pivot. Um, I was having feel like I was having more luck here and figuring things out. But let's position the null object as 0. Move this back. Let's see if I can knife and knife here to here. Okay, well, yeah. Interesting. So if I try to knife to the middle of it, it actually just decides to shave off a non-existent or a barely existent edge of it. So I could make a good sandwich, just slicing off pieces. Okay, so I don't want that. Don't think the null object's necessarily what I was trying to do. Let's go back to the y-axis. Rotate. Much better free rotate. Gotta get right up on. Okay, I don't think I want to mess with that. No. So instead of 1,000 face toothbrush, so let's start fresh. I think. Resize that down this way. And can I duplicate and move that one over? Duplicate, move that one up and over. Block. That is true. Or I can make it like a Lego and brick by brick add cube by cube. So then I can duplicate. Oof, those are big that way. I don't love those. So if I shift all of these and size them all back down one. Sick. Snap back to the y-axis. Yeah. Because then duplicate down, down. And then can I size this one down? Nope. Do you accept half pixel size? No. Only accepts whole pixel sizes. Who would have thought? Okay. And let's duplicate once more in my thought process. Move over and move down. And then I should be able to just shift group elements. Rename frag 1. Okay, frag 1. And then I minimize that for now. Add a new group, and I'll just start with calling this one frag 2. Frag 2 if I know how to spell or make anything. And then add an element within that one. I think bring us back down to pixel size of 1. And then remove things. Gotta choose resolution. That is also very true. But I think for version 1, we're gonna let it be a little pixely right now. If I stretch on... Nope. Size. Up on the z-axis. I meant to then frag 2 add an element. There's probably a default somewhere in the settings for right now that I could probably switch to the words escape me. Default sizing, so that every time I add a new element, yeah, that seems like I don't super want to know how to do that yet. And then we stretch it on the Z. Move them up. Maybe next time I'll remember before stretching on the Z to do that one, and then add another cube. Downsize. I don't really want a custom toolbar. I want to just be able to use the one as is. I just want it to start on the size I kind of want them right now. I also am not very familiar with, well, I won't claim to be much of an artist, but I know I've experienced enough pixel art to at least attempt what I'm doing, I guess. Not that I'm necessarily well practiced in it, but like stretching is stretching is combined. Luckily, if it's all combined, I should theoretically be able to scale it up a little bit more and maybe add more details. On an easier, on like a go back around kind of way, but to do one more Z that way. Add another cube. Let's keep that. Cube in all directions without changing the UV, which is interesting to know for later. Back to the move, and just this pixel right there, And for right now, group them. Nope, that's already grouped. Maybe group still. Yeah, well, let's mark them in yellow and let's switch. Wow, yellow. Let's just make all these yellow so they all vaguely look like the gold on the background of it. Alright. It's just because I like how Frag 1 combined better than Frag 2. I think I start by just building the elements and then I will build the elements first and then I'd group them into a fragment. Do, 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 do. Yes. New next cube. I can preview stuff. I am getting distracted. That there, and then we'll size it the long way. Trying to mentally, I'm trying to figure out which is faster. Of No, this is 100%. If I move this even a little bit, it is on a flat plane. Will I regret this later? Maybe, but there's pivot points and stuff, so I'm just gonna cross that bridge when it comes to it. Trying to figure out if going by the Z is faster or if by the X is faster. Right now, I haven't tested the X, but I fear because of the diamond-like shapes that it would be easier to go cube by cube Z-wise over X. UV. I'm trying to find a way to edit customize toolbar. Okay. Okay. Wow, these are a lot more tools and stuff than I do not. I feel like I'm open to Pandora's box a little bit, and have I Pandora boxed myself? That is UV. No. Yeah, I think I was like, oh, maybe I could find a way to set the size to automatically open in like um the 1 by 1 cube thing right now. But that yeah, I started with opening walking into a master craftsman's tool shop and then being blinded by all the stuff in it. That works. Add element. All right, let's go back to just playing with our blocks over here. Z-axis. Down, down. Should also probably try to learn keybinds while I'm doing this. But that's... Rocking with keybinds is like... I guess it's something that would make sense, but it's not something I don't think I've ever done keybinds for anything very well. So I, I should probably, change my ways and learn how to rock a keybind in shortcuts. But even when I was doing audio production in school, I would just be right clicking everything to get my um, everything to the right sizes. And I think one more cube for this. Downsize to a regular pixel. And just show that bad boy on the end. And then we'll group elements to frag 3. And also make all of these yellow. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's not beautiful. It's not very pretty right now, but we're starting. See, you say by starting learning Vim. I don't know what Vim is. I'm deciding I don't like this one as it is. I'm going to size that back down. And then add another cube. Anytime you say open something in terminal, I get stressed because I don't want to type something in wrong while I'm live for people to laugh at me about it. Make this one yellow. Okay, that's frag free 3 done. And we start on the next frag. What to do? This one is landing a little odd in this space, but I think I'll do a nice simple little... I think for the sake of sanity, this one might just end up like this for right now. Like no, I think I want it to be a little bit more like diamond shape, but given it's pixel art, I can only pixel it so much. Size down, down, and put that. And this is frag 3. Whoa. Hello. Oh. So if I press F, it opens up all this. R is rotate. Oh, that's painting to hit E. Or no, E just opens erase. Makes sense. Go back to edit. Move is on V. Is there an add element button? There does not seem to be an add element button yet. Um, frag 4. Minimize. Also, I guess I have to figure out what might be harder in this three-dimensional space, and or might be easier on the second spin around. I should probably close that. Discard any saves I made to that model because it's not worth it. Is if it was like a closed cube to start with that got fractured open into pieces three-dimensionally, or if it's more like solid block that got. Makes sense? I think that makes sense. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. I could be doing this in a three-dimensional kind of like break the cube. Yeah, like in the um internal self lore of my logo was the cube fragments spinning around a solid block and charged like a battery with the theoretical aether, or was it a hollow box and the shattered is like shattered fragments are like only like 2 or 3 pixels thick, but then it's open. I don't know if it would make it easier in terms of building, but I think it makes more sense in terms of how I'm visualizing it. If that. Let me start. Let me pop up a new prop. Let's just uh either spark 2. Because if I exist, can I? Yeah, I think if because then let me go to like an x-axis. Do I like this x-axis or is this x-axis pissing me off? Yeah, well, so like let's add. What's a quad? What is a quad? Quad's a flat sheet. I don't want a quad. If I start a cube, make it one. Well, let's start by sizing it. Let's do an arbitrary 20 by 20, like is there should be a way to center this. Nope, I don't want to try that. If I do that, then I can add. I'm gonna want to move the pivot point. Oop, I don't want that. Because then if I knife tool, because then this cube on the move. Yeah, so like if I build it like this and build the cube physically, then I can also texture it beforehand. Let me build, add cube, run this cube all the way over here. The axis over 1, and then I'm going to want it. Let's move it to the corner first, because then I can size this to size. And then its y-axis becomes 20 as well. And then I duplicate it and then move the duplicate over to this side. Can I duplicate it? Can I rotate? I probably could rotate it. Let me move. Oop. I don't love where that pivot point is. Not what I am trying to do. This axis? Yes, this axis. Yeah, I wanted to rotate that 90 and then switch back to move here. Because then as I put it all together, I can maybe knife it easier. Let's duplicate this and just drag it towards us. Then duplicate this one and drag it up. The cube. Group elements. Group elements. Cube. So I have the box. Now the wonderful question is, how is this going to react when I knife tool it? How do I read? Control Y. V. Okay, so back it up a little. Let's take this as a concept. Center is a pivot point. And what? When's it free? Oh, no, no. Don't move the pivot point. Center the pivot point. And then rotate. Theoretically, 45 here. Then on the y-axis, I thought oh yeah, on the x-axis? Now, see, this is what confused me. I get to here. How am I not figuring out this cube funny business yet? Do I need to rotate this? How do I concept something in 3D space? All right, let's uncook that real quick. Back to 0. Um. Uh, I'd think at 45 on everything. That just moves that. Oh, T is for transparent, not for transform. R is for rotate. E is for erase. Some of these make sense. Some of them do not. Oh yeah, I could paint it. Let's do some painting. Painting sounds a little bit less stressful than trying to figure out how to rotate this thing the way I was imagining it. If I want something a little bit more gold-like, I want a little bit richer of a texture color. I could. I gotta re-add my reference image to this project. And then if I pick this color, and then I could paint bucket. This surface doesn't have texture. Okay, I did not texture the surface. Has a texture. Create texture. Outer layer. Okay. Fun. There you go. It's probably a tad bit more orange than I'm thinking I want. It is definitely more orange. I'm thinking. You bring it down a little into the gold. It's a little bit too yellow, too neon-y. A little bit. I did color match. I color picked it right off the thing, but I guess this is more orange than I think I recognized it was. Um, nope. But also, there is a gradient to it. That's okay. Not necessarily what I meant to do with all the layers there. We have an orange cube to start. By paint. Let me pixel brush. A tad different color. Nope, didn't change that enough. Add a bit of texturing with a bit of texturing. In color. Bit of texturing there. Maybe something a little bit darker toned. Some shadowing along the edge. Add a little bit of variety to the cube color. Okay, that is painted, and I do kind of like that. Actually, wait, Let me try that smooth brush. Okay, that was not doing what I thought it would. So. Okay, nope, that's just a widespread brush, which I guess makes sense. I don't know if I. It looks different, obviously, because I don't have the grid on all of the item. It's not the grid doesn't exist in this. Viewing it in the 3D space. Okay, so now back to the pivot problem. Nope. Cube as a whole, center pivot. Move. Well, I guess I want to rotate it. R. Let's start here. I want 45, 45, 45. Okay, that definitely didn't put it. Let's. Okay, let's. So 45 definitely on this axis gets me where I want. On this axis. I think I am where I want to be there. I guess I'm just trying to drop a corner. And that's what's really throwing me here. And I don't know why it doesn't. Got it in combination. Shush phone over there. I don't need your harassment. Guess a little bit closer. A little bit close. Almost there. Almost to where I want it. I think that works. That'll work. That'll work for rotation right now. That will be a good enough rotation point. So I think I can hit that, shrink that up to oblivion over there. Okay, we're going to try the knife tool. We're going to choppity chop. Choppity chop. Oh. Where'd they go? There. Okay. Hello. Hello. I don't know why you're rotated. Let me try knife tooling again. Well, actually, let me. Just on that surface. I want a knife. That slightly. I will select this one as K knife. Knife tool doesn't have a number. Nope, that's the wrong one. All right, and then this and this. Like that. I could group elements and then move them slightly one way, slightly the other. Fragmented off the one part. I think I'll take the knife tool on here. Nope. Then I'm going to take the knife tool again. Move this one. Nope, that broke it up a little bit too much. Yes, I am trying to make that a fragment. Oh, nope, that is a resize tool. Okay, and then knife over here. Oh, is this already, did this already end up cut in a weird way? Did end up cut in a weird way. How is it cut? This isn't cut. But I'm going to leave that there for now real quick because I had a thought of... Nope, let me move this one where I want it real quick so I can line up my cuts. It's slowly coming together. Slowly coming together. And then I switch to move and move that back down and over. Move that back into spot where it's supposed to be. Oh boy, why is there... Yeah, let's just take whatever that is. That is that. Delete that for now, I guess. We'll see how that works later. I want this piece to be added into that group. That's fragmented off like that now. I think actually I want to cut this in. I think I'm going to cut this back in half. Move this one back down into I need to move it back down this way. And then back down this way. Over here, knife tool. I could probably do something like that. Switch back to movement. And then it's broken apart and not even either. That way it gives itself more texture naturally by being multiple pieces. And then I got to take this piece out of this fragment. And I got to take this piece also out of this fragment. I need to label this frag 1. I'm going to move this to the top of the list. Okay. And now I just need to sit here and knife a bunch of more pieces apart like it's a Halloween movie. But I'm also, if you cannot hear by my crinkling raptor, crinkling wrapper, I'm indulging in a Reese's peanut butter cup. I do have to keep an eye on the time though, because there's like a foot of snow outside, and I still got to walk the dog. And I have worked in the morning, so I got to make sure I don't get too sucked into my model making over here, because I can feel it already. Like I'm enjoying this a little bit too much, and I could just see myself being here till midnight and then realizing. Mm. Oh, and midnight only works for you because you work second shift and you're also still off. I don't know if anyone can hear it. I was trying an extension off of Twitch to play some non copyrighted background music, and I can hear it. That doesn't really mean that you guys can hear it. So I don't really need background music. I could just play something else for my own entertainment. So you gotta let me know if any music's even coming off of anything anyone's hearing. Um, V the musical. If we're playing any musicals, I want to let myself get into like Hades Town or something. And then I'm going to stop paying attention to what I'm trying to do here. So this fragment, I'm just going to slide you up over here. I don't know when I cut you out of a section, but I did. What is... Why does this have so many sections to it? It's... How did I end up with so many of this one section? Okay, I don't need two of them. This one can stay over here for now. Move this one back into spot. I've broken this up into so many cubes apparently, and I didn't realize that my knife tool had already cut the cheese this much. Um, let's do that. And then movement tool. Move this a little bit up, a little bit down, a little bit towards us. That's a little bit too much towards us. This one I'm going to move up. Oof, moving these in three-dimensional space is... Okay, okay. I don't know where that piece came from. I'm gonna just delete that piece real quick. I select here. We're gonna get the knife out. Make a knife there, and then knife here. Move this piece. Let's move you up this way first. Then move you up this way. And then we gotta move you down a bit. Okay, nice. Okay. Nope, not all that. Deselect. And this one, and this. Let's move that to the bottom. This one also to the bottom. Yeah, see, I moved them to a new location physically, like on my objects list. Is my parent point where they break off not equal? Frag 2. But this actually does also offer a point that if I... Because the pivot's over here. So I could rotate these things like crazy over through this way. So once I break the cube apart, I can make it look a little bit less cube that's been spliced out and like get a little crazy with it. But that's putting the cart before the horse. Okay. Also got to figure out why frag 1. Yeah. I think at some point I changed my pivot transform space up here to parent instead of local. Because now it just, as soon as I grouped it off to itself. Nope, I don't want. Actually, that puts it back in the right spot. I'm gonna move it out of here though. Can I move? What happens if I move frag 1 out of there? Okay. So now it exists collectively. What if I switch to local again? That's not doing anything. I think we're just gonna hide those 2 fragments and keep. I think we're just gonna keep moving along and figure out how to set a central. Well, I know how to set a pivot point. I just have to do that afterwards. So I took the top corner off. I took a side. I think this is doing a lot of stuff over here. Nope, I don't want all of it. I want this one. Move over. Nope, not. This one and this one. And this one. I think I want these ones. Oh yeah, you said the music was quiet. I could probably. It is just kind of ambient music, so I can't. It's not like exciting, but it's there. I want to cut. I want to cut this. I want to cut this one. Because it should miss a couple of sections. Because like if like you shatter a stone, unless it's a very specific type of rock, like you get very tiny fragments, so you don't really get to see all the pieces. So assuming this is some sort of. Thank you. I am literally just on ambient soundscapes on whatever playlist it is offered. Um, if I want to cut to this one like that. And then I move to this tool and delete. And whatever happened here, also delete. I take this segment and we're going to take a knife to it down here. Then switch to clicking and delete. And then gonna knife this one similarly, but a little bit differently. And then we're gonna select this one. And we're gonna delete. And we're gonna go up here. And we're gonna knife it. And we're gonna knife it up here. And we're gonna select this one. And then guess what? We're gonna delete it. And so I did the thing where I gave a side 0 pixel so much space. Alright, and this one similarly also, we're going to knife here. And this one, we're going to delete. And this, we're going to knife here. And enter. And then this. These two are next to each other, so this one needs to move up next to it. Select these ones. And break them off this way. And then we're going to group these together, group elements into rename frag 3, and then we're going to drag it out here and see what wacky shenanigans it looks like with the other two. Oh yeah, this is getting wacky. Okay, so I broke that apart. Think if I'm doing test something with this piece. Break it here, and then we're gonna rotate. It's pivot point. Center on pivot a little bit, and let's move it down the y-axis just so I can try something. Nope. Wrong one. Wrong, try something. Also wrong, try something. Maybe I gotta combine a couple of things. Trying to... Okay, pivot points are trying to confuse me. Theoretically, in my head, if it makes sense in terms of physics, if I pivot something, you know what? I think my pivot point on. Yeah, because I'm trying to make it look like a piece is. That makes sense, like buckling apart as it breaks off. I think that makes sense. They are next to each other, so I will just group these elements and call this frag 4. Frag 4, enter, also drag it out into the nothingness. Add a little bit of quirkiness to it. Part of, and you know, I think flavoring it like that a little bit later will be more important, but right now it's a bit more of how to just break the pieces apart and make the pieces. Some of them I should probably buckle inwards a little bit, but I guess that's if the theoretical explosion in my head was both an out explosion and then suddenly an implosion a little bit too, or if it was like a mixture of in and out depending on thought process with it. But I do think I like the pieces at a time. I do wish I could do like a little bit faster, but that's probably a personal skill issue. Let's do that. On this piece, we'll do that. Then that piece and that piece. Nope. Ugh. Switch tools before selecting objects. I just want to stop selecting everything at once. That one off. Move that one off. Then here. Gonna knife. Gotta knife it this way, and then we gotta knife it this way. Switch back to the movement. Did I not confirm the knife in the other direction? Okay, move that off. Yeah, maybe keybinds one day. Okay. Yes. Okay, this one and this one and this one are all super far away from each other on my list. Move this just to the bottom. Nope. Second from a bottom. Oh, right there. And then this one also right there. So that one, and that one. All be grouped together and labeled frag 4. Or no, I did frag 4. I'm on frag 5 now. Ugh. How many fragments am I looking to make this thing? And then it does the fun thing where I move it down here and it orients different. And then I'll erase it so it's out of my way. I imagine that once I cut all the pieces I want in the ways I want them, that as soon as I can see them all again, I think I somehow managed to group all the elements over here into a local pivot point of its own, but then didn't either mirror this one to the parent one, or I started just moving them all to the parent one on accident. So I imagine once I finish this section of the process, that it's also going it's probably going to be oriented like they were when I pulled them off of the cube, but then reoriented back correctly. So, but I've also never done any form of 3D artwork, so I can't guarantee that. I think I'm gonna delete this piece because I'm gonna kind of take this corner off of it. So I'm gonna have to chop this up a little. And nope. I wish knife had a shortcut. Yeah, break that corner off to get some of it off of there. I think this I'm going to split like that. Split off that. I think I might... Let me overcomplicate what I'm doing. You not let me cut it any thinner. Let's do it like that. Nope. Delete that. Knife that. The knife that. Delete that. In my head, I'm doing a no jagged edges thing, even though it's all cubes and it's all jagged edges. That and that are next to each other, and that's next to... group these to frag 6. And then frag 6, we're gonna rotate slightly. Inwards, because I think that'd be fun, and then position it going into the center a little bit instead of going out of the center strictly. I had to turn down the music slightly. Sorry. That's frag 6. Down here. And invisible frag 6. Got a lot of pieces left. I think I could do a really cool visual. I know on the original reference logo that it's has the point on the bottom. Some reason visually in my head, I imagine this was placed on like a mount pedestal thing with on like a point, and that whenever the explosion of the aether happened, I imagine it would break off of the pedestal and leave like the corner piece behind on it, like an unclean break. I think that's what I want to do next with it. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to knife it. I'm going to make kind of a big knifing. Let me knife. Delete this and delete that. Knife. Here. That works. And then I want to knife there. Switch back to this. Knife. Call that a knife. Trying to think of other knife related puns or jokes I've heard, but all I'm getting is knife. It's not exactly original, but knife is what is. Yeah, so then if I zoom out again, it's like a chunk off the bottom point was like left when it got removed from where it was supposed to be. Sip the ginger ale. Sit up straight because you realize you're slouching like a heathen. Let's knife this and knife that. Select, break, delete that. This, I think I'm going to have also go inwards a little bit. And I think if I get real specific with it, I can delete that cube. Delete that section. Switch off of knife to not frustrate myself more. This one and this one are all next to each other. Group elements. Rename is F2. F2, everybody. F2 is rename. Frag 7. Drop it visually and move it down to the list. Piece by piece, we will break this apart. Knife. I'm gonna knife that. Knife that. Select that. Delete. Cooking up an idea here. Knife that. Delete. There's a section here that is freaking out. If I can knife. Delete that section. Then switch to the move tool and move it out this way. Switch this one, move this one out this way. This part out this way. Okay, I accidentally deleted the Z-axis on that section. Not how I meant to trim it. A little bit too thin for what I was shooting for. But let's take this section, move this way, this way. Let's move this one. Ba-ba-ba. I somehow chopped that into several pieces and then none of them existed, so I gotta unchop them and chop them back together. Chop that. Moving that one up to here. Have a bit of a piece that's not uniform. I'm going to just get rid of that. I'm not loving it. This and this. Alright, let's do the tried and true. Move it to second to top. Second to top. Second to top. Also second to top. Group these together. Rename frag 8. Move frag 8 down to the bottom. Disappear it for now. I feel like I cut so much off and then I'm still left with so much cube to cut. In hindsight, this might not have been the best way to do it. And in further hindsight, I realize I've not hit the save button in a hot minute. Where do I want to put this? Yeah. I'll put it there. I'll discard the original one over there. Oh, it was one of those. Oh yeah, I should save that. Oh wow, I haven't I haven't even put a location on my computer for where this should save. Whew. Okay. If I hide the cube that I have and unhide the fragments, how do those orient? Yep, those are fragments for sure. Oh, yikes. Yikes on bikes. Oh, Lord. We're gonna go back to just having those invisible and go back to what I was working on. I don't my goal for now is to chop the rest of this cube into pieces. Who would have thought? Oh. Um what's a fun toolbox? What does weight brush even do? Let's get myself some more fun stuff and just seam tool. Whoa, what does that do? What did I do? What am I doing? No clue what seam tool is doing. Having a great time with it. Oh, you can swap tools by just hitting spacebar. That's nice. So I can go from knife tool to move tool. No, I can't. That is not how that works. That is a false hope. Okay, I want to take this piece. And I'm going to chop it again. And I'm going to delete this top part. And this part is getting inward. I thought that was a much bigger piece. That's fine. I'll knife it into a smaller piece. And nope, not how I wanted to knife it. Knife it like that. And make it a smaller piece. And that one cube can be its own piece. Have fun. Bon voyage. Get out of the main cube. This one we're gonna rotate it a little bit, and then we. Why is its rotation pivot point all the way down there? Why is its rotation point all the way down there? Center pivot, and then we're gonna rotate, and we're gonna let it rotate a little bit inwards. And then we're going to move it slightly inwards. And then we're going to also disappear it from the list. We're making hard-hitting decisions this late into the model making session. How are there so many? A cube looks like exactly like another cube. We're deleting them. There can't be this many cubes left. That's a separate cube. That's a separate cube. That's a separate cube. That's a one-dimensional cube. Delete it. That cube's just a square. It's one direction. It's one dimension. Get it out of there. Delete that just because it'll look better. Ugh. Yeah, you know what? Decided to learn how to 3D model make on a weeknight after work is the best idea I could have had for streaming content. Truly a mastermind over here. And we're gonna cut that. Delete. And then this we're gonna cut like that. Delete. And this we're actually gonna cut like that, and then like that. Delete. Ooh, we're adding interesting shapes to our fragments. Like that, and like that. Delete. We're going back to 0D. I'm going to bed. No, I promised myself that I was going to finish the cube fragments. Let's switch to non-knife. That one. That one to that one. To Control Shift G. F2. Frag 9, I think. Bring it down onto these ones. Drop its visibility. Oh, I'm getting there. We're going to chop this bad boy up into many, many little pieces. And we're going to delete some of them. And like that, and like that. Gone. And like that, and like that. Deleted. Nope. Switch to that. That one, and that one, and that one, and Control Shift G. Learning keybinds out of the desire to move faster. Desire to finish project faster, learn keybinds. I like this section over here a little bit, so I think I'm going to chop it like that there, and like, nope, escape. Chop it like that. And then I'm going to select this one, and we're going to chop it, you're going to chop it like that. Shift G, frag 11. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. I punched a bunch of buttons, and I'm not fully sure what I did. Because I'm supposed to hit that, and then frag 11. But I have reintroduced grids into my... that's probably just because I hit G. Figuring it out. Figuring out the keybinds are just... Figuring out the keybinds are just... most of the time... Mostly... I don't know. Mostly something. Get that piece out of there. I don't want it anymore. Cut it like that. Cut it like that. Cut this one like that. Delete that piece. Move it out like that. Control Shift G. F2 frag. Caps lock to myself. Frags 12. Enter. Disappear it. Drop it down there. That one, delete. This one, I think we can just move like that. Maybe give it a fancy little rotate. I think I'm mostly going to get jarred by the few items I decided to rotate instead of the fact that I have minimally decided to rotate like random pieces. Ugh. Gotta remember to blink more. Sure. Delete that. Knife it there. Delete that one. Yeah. Bring this piece in more. Control Shift G. F2 frag 13. Disappear. Sent into the oblivion. It's like, man, my eyes are tired. Hey, when's the last time you blinked staring at your screen, rotating an object in a third dimension several times? control everything. Ah, and you can click and drag while hitting control to group of click. Oh, man. Frag 14. Alright, we're almost there. So this last two, I'm just gonna control shift G. Rename frag 15. Alright, I've officially taken part of every part of the cube. Let's see how bad it looks when I revisualize the entirety of it. Ah, you know what? It's not as bad as I thought it would be. If I hit this, can I central a pivot point? Woozy. Speaking. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to do. Okay. I think let me reverse my spins back down to 0. Let me just hit a control cancel file. Control Alt S. All right. I wish I could do a bit of a longer one, but given my rapid spiral into uh whatever, trying to figure out 3D modeling, which I do think did get better throughout the process of this stream. I've learned several shortcuts. For the sake of sanity and for sleep, I think I will have to call it there for tonight. Thank you everyone who showed up. Appreciate the advice, and I appreciate sharing. Exactly. 0 disassembled cube. I appreciate the support and not the being for witnesses to whatever this was, so I can prove it was a real experience. But thank you, and hope everyone has a good evening.